Welcome. Every once in a while, there will be a need to calculate a grade in the grade center. An example that comes to mind is that of the midterm grade. In order to set up a column for the midterm grade, we would need to select a total column option from the Create Calculated Column menu. When we do that, we can identify specific columns that will be included in the grade. And in order to do that, we first have to select this option for selected columns and categories, and then select the items that are going to be included in the grade and use this arrow to move them into the selected columns area. Before we move into Blackboard to view the example, I want to just share a few cautions. First, it's always a good idea to check the calculations by downloading the gradebook. Next, we need to be very careful about including group assignments, especially if these assignments have not been completed by all students. In these situations, it's all the more important that we download the gradebook and double check the calculations. And finally, you want to release the grade for students to view only after you have validated it. For the purpose of this demo, we will assume that we are going to include the grades from the first 2 weeks in the midterm grade. These grades add up to a total of 600 points. In the grade center, we select the total column from Create Calculated Column. Let's call this midterm grade. And as we have seen before, we can include the display of the score and then a percentage, or you can choose a letter grade and a percentage, whatever works for you. Further, as we come down here, we will need to select the selected columns and categories. And now we pick up the assessment items for weeks 1 and 2 and move them to the selected columns area using this arrow. Next, I'm going to go ahead and click Submit, but before I do that, let me hide this column from the students for now. The midterm grade column shows up here. There's an icon here which says that it is not visible to the students. Let me start off by looking at the quick column information, which tells me that the total points possible is 600. At this point, I can download the gradebook as an Excel sheet. And once the gradebook has been downloaded, I will be able to see the raw scores for the students as well as the display of the midterm grade. What I would normally do is I would go ahead and manually calculate the midterm grade just to be sure that it is being calculated correctly. And then I will make this a percentage. And then go back to the grade center and make sure that the calculations are correct. And so as you can see, 73.27 and 83.83. And so it validates the calculation of the midterm grade. And I can now make this column visible to the students by clicking on this option.